charm, third time trying to film this video. Alrighty, what up, 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 everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome back to another ASMR video. In today's video, we have another finance video. You guys know on this channel, we love speaking about a couple things: our faith, finance, of course, sneakers, investments, things like that. So, today's video, I realized I have not done much, or I haven't done any talking about credit, and it's very important, especially when it comes to finance. It is a term that is used a lot. So, my credit score is very good, and that's not a flex to say anything, but it just is. You guys can see. So, 792 is my FICO credit score measured with Experian. We are going to start from the top on this video, but anything above 700 is a good credit score, from what I hear. Even higher 600s, still pretty good. But when it comes to credit score, 700, you can pretty much walk in anywhere and get approved for a lot of things. 850 is the perfect score to get. But yeah, we'll get to that. Anyways, so the reason I'm making this video is because, one, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not proficient when it comes to financial literacy, but I figured that it may help some people to hear, to talk about this with somebody you can relate to. And I feel like, you guys know I'm not rich or anything, but I have experienced some life, and we are, probably most of us are young adults or becoming adults. I'm a young adult myself, and it's important to know about these things. So, and it's interesting. I love talking about this type of stuff. So anyways, hopefully you guys would rather hear from me than some rich millionaire guy trying to sell you a course. But do your own research, because, like I said, I'm not a rich millionaire or anything, so what do I know? Anyways, so what is a credit score? Why is it important? So a credit score is just how you are scored based on your relationship with money. Simple as that. Or no, your relationship with debt. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Your relationship with debt, not just money. Debt in specific. D-E-B-T, debt. Why is that important? Well, people have to know if they can trust you. Businesses have to know if they can trust you. Let's say, for example, let's say I'm just a young kid. Let's say I'm, 15 years old. And I go around asking people for money all the time, but I never pay them back. Eventually, word is going to get around, and I'm going to ask John over there. I'm going to say, hey John, can I borrow $10? He's going to say, I've heard about you. You don't pay your debts. You owe a bunch of people a bunch of money. I'm not going to pay you. Versus, the other dude, Chris over there. Chris goes up to John and says, hey John, I need $20. Can I, get borrowed $20? Chris is going to be like, oh yeah, for sure. Can you pay me back by next week? And Chris is going to be like, yeah, I'll pay you back by next week. Cool. And the difference is John has heard about Chris. John knows that Chris is a man of his word. He pays back his debts. He doesn't owe anybody things over, what is agreed upon. So he has a good relationship with debt. His debt gets paid for, he manages it, versus me, I don't. So how does this relate to business? Well, or finance? Well, I'm sure you guys know a lot of people that maybe have to take a loan out to get a car, right? Well, or some people are like, man, I can't get this car because I can't get this loan. And that may be because they don't have a high credit score. Whoever the loaner or the lender is trying to loan that person the money to finance whatever it is, whether it be a car, could be a house, could be even like you just applying for a credit card. They're gonna look at that person and they're gonna say, oh, either one, I don't know, you don't have any credit, you've never used credit, or two, nope, you owe a lot of money, you are always late when you have to pay payments, so we're not gonna loan you, you have a bad credit score. Versus a guy with a high credit score, he can do a lot more. He can get a loan to start a new business, he can get a loan to get a car, to use for business, to use for his personal life, a lot of things. You understand what I'm saying? So, credit is important in that way. Your relationship with debt is important in that way. If you guys have never borrowed money and used credit, then you more than likely have a credit score of 0. And that does not mean that it is a bad thing in that sense. It's really not. All it means is people don't know. How are you gonna know if you can trust somebody with money if they've never borrowed anything? So, is it recommended to try to build your credit? Yeah, probably, because a lot of us one day we want to have a house or we want to buy a car, but we may not have the means to go and just cash out on a house or cash out on a car, but we may still need a house, we may still need a car, and unless we have credit, then it is going to be hard for us to be able to secure that property or car or other things. Now, so if you don't have any credit, how do you build credit? Well, you gotta start borrowing money. You have to start having debt. And what is the simplest, easiest way to build some credit, to build a relationship with debt, for banks to see that you have some type of credit history? Well, the simplest thing would be to get a credit card. So you guys saw when I showed you my credit score, right? I showed you on the Wells Fargo app, which is, I use Wells Fargo, I have Chase as well. But you can find your credit score on whatever bank app you use most of the time. And as long as you're over 18, you're making some money, chances are you can apply for a credit card. My recommendation, if you're starting out with a credit card, don't get one that you have to pay for. There are some credit cards that charge you sometimes, annual fee. Could be $50. Some of the better credit cards, and we'll get into that, can range up more to like a couple $100 a year. But there are free credit cards, and credit cards have a lot of benefits. You can use your credit to get discounts at specific stores. I'm going to show you, for example, on Wells Fargo here, using your credit card. Look at all these deals. You can get cash back, right? Nike, let's say you do find a credit card that you like, one that doesn't charge you to own it. Maybe it gives you 2% cash back on your purchases. Now, how do you be responsible with that credit card? One, you're going to have a limit. So, the way your credit card works is basically, instead of paying with your debit card, you're going to pay with your credit card. And it's not going to take the money straight away from your account. It is going to build up a bill. And at the end of every month, you have to pay off that bill with your cash. So, and like I said, there's a limit, because you're not just going to go spend $10,000 on a credit card. And yeah, they're not going to lend you $10,000 just to spend freely. It might be anywhere from like $1,500 to like $4,500, depending on what credit card you get and what you get approved for. But I would say only spend, honestly, you don't have to spend that much of your credit limit. I would say it's at most 50 to 70%, at most, like absolute most. But there are months where you don't even have to spend that. All you want to do is make a couple purchases on your credit card every month, and at the end of the month, pay that bill in 100% full, because it will give you the option to not pay it at the end of the month. You can pay a minimum. But what the reason that they allow that is because if you pay that minimum, even if you have the money in your bank, the remainder is going to carry on to the next month. And because you have not technically paid it out of your own cash, out of your own bank, the bank paid it. The credit card company paid that bill until you pay them off. So they are going to charge you what's called interest. Let's just say interest is 10% and you spent $300 on that bill and you paid the minimum, which was $30. You now have a remainder of $270 on that bill that's going to carry over to next month. And the bank is going to be like, okay, yeah, that's fine, no problem. He at least paid the minimum. But since he still owes us money, we're going to charge him 10% on what he owes us. So now they're going to charge you $27, 10% of $270, annualized, right? So you are getting billed on borrowing their money. So I highly recommend, and honestly, sometimes that percentage can be more like 30%, like 15 to like 29% is what I've seen. So pay off your credit cards in total. If you know you can't pay it off by the end of the month, don't purchase that item or buy it in the form of debit or cash. You don't want to have, there's no point of you starting to build credit if you are going to start building bad credit. You don't want to see, one, you don't ever want to miss a payment, ever. Absolutely not. But banks do not want to see that you are owing money. Why are they going to loan you versus the guy that's like, oh yeah, well he borrows money all the time, but he pays his bills? It's a very big difference. So I pretty much built this credit score from a simple credit card. On Wells Fargo, I have an active cash credit card, and it gives me about 2% back on every purchase that I make, which isn't a lot. If I spend $1,000, I get $20 back, but I mean, it kind of adds up over time. But yeah, credit, it can be very important for you in the future. I haven't really had a need for credit other than my car. I got approved on my car. I'm paying off my car now. Is it good to buy cash versus credit? You put it on credit, it's completely up to you guys. I wouldn't recommend buying a brand new car in general, but speak with somebody that you can really sit down with and have that conversation with. Yeah. For some of you, if you're buying an $8,000 car, it might be better just for you to save up and buy the car cash or get something cheaper. If you really, for whatever reason, need a brand new car and it's very expensive, obviously more than likely you're going to have to put it on credit, but really talk with somebody. Most of the time, it's really not worth it unless you're making, pretty good money. But there are a lot of things that are, bigger picture that I just don't have time to get into in this video, but there is a brief overview on credit. There's kind of how to build your credit score. I built that credit score pretty much all on just the one credit card that I had. I never missed a payment. I was never late on a payment. I never didn't pay it off in full. I always paid it off in full at the end of the month. And your credit grows pretty fast. The only thing for me is that it's a little hard for banks to want to lend me money because I'm so young. I don't have a long period of credit. So, last thing, for example, if there's a dude who's only had a credit card for a year, and even though he's paid everything off, he's done really well, never missed a payment, always taken care of everything. But then there's a guy who's had a credit card for 10 years, and same thing, he's never missed a payment, he's always been responsible. It is better, and let's say they have the exact same credit score for whatever reason, it is better for the bank to see that guy with 10 years because they know, okay, he has a long reputation versus this guy. Yeah, he's been doing it for a year, but a year is hard to judge. But yeah, with that being said, hopefully somebody on this video found it helpful. Glad we were able to get about a 17-minute video, and God bless you all. I will catch you in tomorrow's video. I'm brainstorming what I should do. But yeah, God bless and peace.